G'day Pocket Watchers, we are here at the Besides. The inaugural Besides Adelaide 2024. Falcon is our leader. But back in the day, these were our leaders. I'm here with
Mike Richard.
We are going to have a personal tour of the old style espionage stuff. Who were the I guess the did you call them companies or like is the CIA a company or is
they were nicknamed the company, but yes, we've got representations here of equipment from all sorts of different organisations. I'll give you a little tour, a little show and tell. We've got here a couple of original World War II German radios. They're exceptionally rare. An immediate post-World War II German radio, and a World War II British radio set over here, and Cold War radio sets from the US, from Great Britain.
So we'll keep you close to the microphone, which is here and here.
Yeah.
And I'll zoom in as we are pointing to stuff, so we maintain
Sure.
verbal contact. So
I've got here a couple of very nice Cold War radios. This one is American, about 1970, and this one British from the 1950s. That's a Mark 123, and this is an American radio from around about 1970, custom made for the CIA.
And this looks really old. What sort of age are we looking at here?
This is a World War II suitcase radio. It's the type that was parachuted into occupied France, well, the occupied countries behind German lines, and they were used by the Special Operations Executive and other people who were operating against the Nazi occupation.
Right. This is the real deal, people. You don't get to see this stuff. The reason why you don't get to see this stuff, because at the end of their life, they are destroyed.
Correct.
Spies don't keep hold of this stuff. You don't get to see these sort of stuff in museums or anything. This is rare. This is a treat. Lock sporters.
So we've got here some very nice agent radios. So a US 1960s agent radio. This one actually Tesla, made in Czechoslovakia and used by the Czech and the East German Secret Service. And then to its right, I have this unit here. This is a Soviet Kyra. It was used by KGB, and in fact, when I originally got it, the harness was a bit mucky. Some sweaty Boris had been using it for a number of years. Behind that, we've got pretty much the complete history of what's called burst encoders. So a burst encoder is a device which I use to say, in this case, punch in a sequence of numbers into some perforated 35mm film. That 35mm film with the numbers is then fed into this little device here, which can send messages traditionally via Morse, or when I feed the film in and then crank the handle, it transmits that out via the radio to a receiver in a covert and secret fashion.
Ooh.
Then I've got a couple of slightly more modern burst encoders. This one here is running on magnetic tape from the 60s. This is an early 80s fully digital burst encoder. And then the last one that was used in the Warsaw Pact, the Stasi of East Germany began to experiment with using the commercial Sharp computer with a radio over the other side as their burst transmission.
Notice Sharp wanted to have their brand name prominent on the spy gear.
Indeed. At the back I've got a couple of slightly more modern Soviet radios. These were the type used in occupied Afghanistan. This one here, a very, very rare transitional model, an analog radio, like a late kind of mini tube radio, but with a digital burst encoder. These are a very short-lived transitional model, which then became this, with the digital burst encoder fully embedded within a digital radio. We've also got here some very interesting counterintelligence technology. So a couple of examples here of what we call radio direction finders. This one is so old it's in a Bakelite case and is the type of equipment used in post-war Germany, and it would strap around your body with a little belt, much like this one here would. This one is 1950s Russian technology called Soika, and Soika would be strapped around your body with an antenna running transverse across your body, and you would use that to locate people who were using hidden transmitters. We move on then to kind of surveillance and intercept radios, or the kind of radios you might use for listening to bugs. So in front here we've got one that the Stasi were very, very proud of. This is a mid-1980s Stasi OTS developed solid-state surveillance radio. They were exceptionally proud of this because microelectronics was for them a sunrise industry in the late 80s. The OTS were very, very proud of the development of this box. It's exceptionally sophisticated technology for East German in the 80s. Then we've got a couple of other sets here, winding back the clock a bit to around about 1962, so around about the time of the Bay of Pigs fiasco, that sort of thing. We have an American Mason surveillance intercept radio, and these were used for kind of, well, really bug detection type equipment. These were used by the various agencies in the US. We've got a very nice surveillance receiver, again from the US, a commercial product, and I guess one of the guiding principles of this collection is to show the evolution of each type of technology through multiple generations, right? So we've got the Mason from the 60s, we've got a Scanlock type device from the 70s and 80s, a CPM 700, and then finally the most sophisticated type of bug detector called a non-linear junction detector. And this works by looking for the junctions that are in electronic devices like CPUs or diodes, those sorts of things. We've got here also some very nice surveillance cameras. This is the commercial Novoflex, and you can see
it looks like a weapon.
Well, people say that it looks like a weapon, but I would say to you, it's more that weapons look the way they do because of ergonomic reasons, and when you need to quickly be able to use something, what this thing does is the shutter release is on the front handle here, and this is a pull focus zoom, which makes it very, very easy to acquire a target and then be able to keep the camera on target.
Yeah, you want to be a comfortable spy.
You want to be a comfortable spy.
Because you could be doing it for a very long time
You could be in a cramped, hot roof for a very long time. This is an exceptionally rare camera called Lenok. It was purpose-built for the KGB to be able to enter a premises through a hole drilled in a wall or in a roof.
Wow.
Then over here we've got pretty much the complete evolution of Soviet night vision. Some very interesting these are actually a later model Russian-developed pair of night vision binoculars, but they've got that glorious Soviet steampunk look about them. You know, the kind of hammer-toned paint and the clunkiness about them. Russian, 1990s. We have the earlier Baigish and a Panatron, which is probably the rarest of all of the Soviet night vision technologies. So these are passive devices that work through light amplification, and then if we go back in time, we have the active night vision. So this is a 1966 Nocta. It would be one of the rarest cameras in the world. This is the only example that I've ever seen for sale, and Nocta would be worn with a big battery pack to power the infrared lights, and this will illuminate a target in pitch black and be able to take very high quality photographs.
Wow, that looks heavy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't want to be holding that for too long.
As I said, it's the only example that I've ever seen for sale. They were developed by Pentax and then used by multiple Western agencies, and this one would have no doubt been through that path and then sold on the secondary market to law enforcement in the US, and it's still stamped as such.
Pentax, I remember that brand.
They are still around. Here we've got an exceptionally rare pile of gear. So this takes us back to how mass surveillance used to happen before the internet. The Stasi had this type of recorder up here called Seco, and these were mounted literally by the 100 in telephone exchanges, and they could be remotely switched on to listen to either your telephone in your house or to bugs that have been planted in your house. Stasi operators in a separate room in the telephone exchange or nearby could also use this type of equipment that we see here. So at the bottom we've got a purpose-built surveillance receiver, model 2170. Up to 10 of those could be tasked by this box in the middle, which is the controller. And then when, I guess, conversations of interest were found, they could be dropped into this custom-built Stasi recorder. This equipment also features in the movie The Lives of Others, in German Das Leben der Anderen, so you can actually kind of get an idea of the deployment methodology.
Yeah.
Over here, again, some exceptionally rare items. What you're looking at here is another piece of Stasi briefcase technology. This thing would be carried into a building. You would bring in documents that you'd lifted and you wanted to make copies of. It folds out into a high volume document copy station. So you can see at the back the grey battery box. You've got these fold out arms with illumination lamps. There's a little foot trigger here. So the use case for this thing is that I pass documents across that bed, and every time I've got a page in view, I hit the button with the foot trigger, the shutter is released, and I literally have a massive magazine with hundreds of feet of film in the top for recording large volumes of documents. There were only about 20 of these ever made. It's a very, very rare find to be able to have one of those. Custom built into that briefcase for the Stasi.
Wow. Photocopier in a case.
Photocopier in a case. This is the Western equivalent, featuring a robot camera. Again, very rare. This is the only unit I've ever seen for sale. Probably used by West German intelligence or police. No, undoubtedly intelligence. Back to the kind of Stasi guys at the front, we've got an item called a criminalist kit, or a criminal technica tasche. And the criminal technic tasche was a device that was carried into forensic situations for counterintelligence. So, you know, the bug planting crews would carry them, people looking for evidence of espionage. So this whole bag here also is a feature display at the International Spy Museum in Washington. I'm lucky to have a couple of them. They're getting rarer and rarer over time. More commonly nowadays you'll find a bag, but it's been cannibalized by households who just thought, oh, there's a handy hammer or a handy pair of pliers. So to get complete kits nowadays is quite rare. And you see things here for marking out evidence sites. There's pouches of plaster and a little foldable rubber bowl that you can use for taking tyre or shoe prints. There's evidence collection bottles and all sorts of other tools that are used at a crime scene or for counterintelligence work.
Wow. You can pause the screen there and read the blurb. We're moving on.
We've got another couple of very interesting bits of technology. Again, Stasi at the back. This device that you see on a tripod is called a Lichtsprechergerät, or literally a light-speaking device. And what it does is it takes an input from a microphone and converts it into infrared light pulses. And that was how they could communicate across the Berlin Wall with no risk of radio interception or eavesdropping. They were just communicating over light.
Light.
We've got here a selection of very, very interesting...
Is that a polygraph?
That's a polygraph machine, yeah. Polygraph pneumograph machine.
There you go, people. I recognise one thing.
We've got here a selection of purpose-built covert cameras with different use cases. A bulk camera like this might be deployed from under the eaves in a house or from a surveillance van. We have here a couple of pinhole cameras that are used for probably more for compromat photography, but also for just, you know, observation through walls or in complex environments. We've got a whole bunch of concealed cameras. So we've got cameras concealed in purses. We've got cameras. Here's a camera that's concealed inside another camera. So people think that you're wearing a 35mm camera facing outwards from your body, but in fact there's another camera that takes photos sideways. We've got an Ajax camera hidden inside a belt and a belt buckle. We've got another one hidden in a bra, developed by the Stasi. Yes, this is called Project. This is called Project Meadow. It was a real thing, and I had a lady in Brisbane who custom builds lingerie helped me to take a bra and rebuild the harness that goes in the back of it with the trigger release. And that was called Project Meadow, that one.
Wow.
The real deal. Also from female agents, I've got many examples of purses that have camera fittings inside them.
This is so cool.
Yep. We've got some very interesting, this is an example of kind of the industrialization of espionage. This is delivered as a factory OEM kit to the field officers, and they could then take this and build the camera into the concealment of their choice, which could be a bag, it could be a briefcase, it could be a pram, it could be the headlight of a car or whatever. But this is an infrared camera delivered as a kit, so it could be custom fitted. We've got a selection here of miniature recorders from the Cold War. This one at the front with the wristwatch was actually used by ASIO, and the one to the left with the microphone hidden in a pen was actually used by the Stasi. So ASIO had this model here that would be worn in a shoulder holster. Same for this thing here with the Stasi, but just with a different type of concealed microphone. On the back of the watch, you'll see those little perforations. There's no watch movement there, it's all microphone. We've got here in the era of digital spies a couple of very interesting examples of technology. On the right, we have the kit used by Ana Montes. She was a Cuban double agent working for defense intelligence in the US, and she had an incredible photographic memory. She would go to work, memorize huge amounts of information, take it home, dump it into a satellite pro, and from there to an encrypted floppy, and that would go off to her Cuban handlers, and she got her instructions via this type of shortwave radio. The Russian agent Anna Chapman was rolled up by the FBI in New York in about the year 2010, and she used this type of laptop here with a high gain antenna concealed inside a Chanel bag, and she was quite a socialite. She was looking to climb the ladder there and make increasingly powerful and well-connected links to people who might be in positions of power. And that group was rolled up. About 10 agents were rolled up in an operation called Ghost Stories. They were long-term Russian sleeper agents in the US. Here we've got some examples of the types of awards that were given to Stasi and KGB operatives, and in fact this one is inscribed 1975 for good work to a technical officer of the KGB. And I have some original signed photos from some famous characters. We've got William Donovan, original signed photo from William Donovan, who was the founder of the OSS, the American precursor of the CIA in World War II. John Singlaub, who was one of the original members of the CIA. And then down here, original photo of Markus Wolf. And Markus Wolf was the head of the Stasi Foreign Intelligence Service with one of his agent radios.
So to actually see the face of the people who were involved in all of this is quite...
Well, it's funny you use that expression because Markus Wolf was known in the West as the man without a face, because no one had a photograph of him for many years, and it wasn't until a defector actually pointed out what he looked like that we finally knew what Markus Wolf looked like. Moving on to cryptography, we've got some very, very nice examples of machines here. We've got some original parts from Enigma and other German World War II machines.
Oh wow.
We've got a whole bunch of machines from Hagelin. So Hagelin designed this machine, which was used by Australia and the other Five Eyes countries during World War II. That's an M209. And then he improved on it with this generation of machines called the CX52, a very, very strong cipher machine. This is personally my favourite of all of the cipher machines. It has an incredible aroma, which you can't detect obviously via a live stream, but an amazing machine to see high-level cryptography rendered purely by mechanical means.
Is that still functional?
These are completely functional machines, yes. Then down here I've got a very nice portable version of the CX52. This was developed for the French military, so an officer could carry around in their pocket a cipher machine that was compatible with the CX52. And it was this machine that made the NSA realise that they had to find a way to compromise crypto because it was getting so strong that they literally couldn't crack it. And so they did a backdoor deal to purchase the Hagelin company, partnering with the German BND to buy that company secretly. And these machines down here are two examples of later digital crypto devices which have compromised crypto with backdoors planted in them. We've got a couple of, now these are two replica Enigma machines. They're 3D printed.
Oh wow!
It's way too big. It's way too big a commercial risk to bring an Enigma here because they're currently trading for hundreds of thousands of dollars. But these these serve as a good example of how Enigma evolved over time. So we started off with the Enigma K, the commercial Enigma with multiple rotors but no plug board. The Germans then, for the military version, added the plug board, which dramatically increased the cipher complexity of the machine. And what's interesting is, of course, how that then inspired other countries' machines. So the Soviets took away from that they wanted a 10-rotor machine, and in terms of other complexity, on the Soviet Fialka, their rotors counter-rotate, and it also features a function called re-injection. So re-injection means that once I've ciphered a message, the cipher stream is picked up and then run through the rotors a second time, and it's kind of like a super encipher, super encryption technology. Yep. Another machine that was inspired by Enigma is this one over here. We've got a pair of working Swiss NEMA machines. These are based on the commercial Enigma K, and they're fully functional. We can take a message and encrypt it on the first machine, and then we can take the encrypted message and walk it over to the second machine, and when we punch that in, we get clear text as a result. So it's very, very nice to be able to show the complete life cycle of crypto. And then we've paired those for the exercise for today with the little box that's in the corner. This is an exceptionally rare device from the 1980s from East Germany, again developed by the Stasi OTS, and this is called a Morse-Sprechergerät. And what the Morse-Sprechergerät does is it allows me to take an encrypted message and to convert it to spoken language so it can then be broadcast across the Berlin Wall. And since nobody can tell who's listening to a radio station, everybody in the West can hear that message, but only the person who's got the one-time pad can decrypt it. And so here we go. This is the voice of the Stasi from 1984.
9,
Wow.
So people can come down here and do an exercise where they have to write down the German message, obviously translate that to English, then that reveals the first flag. They take that message and run it through a one-time pad. That gives them the first flag, and then they take the second flag, which is double enciphered, and they take that ciphered message, type it into the cipher machine, and they get the clear text out of it. So this is real Cold War methodology, hands-on here at B-Sides.
This is great. So what we're talking about with the flag, there are cyber games going on here. So you can capture flags. You do all these little exercises all around the village. Grab this, decode that, sort this out, and you move on to the next stage.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Do you want me to show your face on? No, it's all right. Well, there you have it, lock sporters, lock lovers, history buffs, wannabe spies, people who are very interested in this sort of stuff. How's that for a personalised tour? You will never get to see all this stuff in one place again. This is a personal collection that has been brought here specifically for this event. You have just heard the owner of this collection giving you a personal tour. Wow, what a lot of history. Back in the day before cyber was a word. So I'm just going to go through and just give you a big bo peep at what was here.
I didn't even get a click out of it. Blocking words or nothing.
Well, pocket watchers, what a treat for today. Now there's going to be more treats. I'm going to try and do some live streaming. Had a little bit of trouble getting it started. We'll get a hang of it. Otherwise I'll just keep doing videos and upload them throughout the day. Or you'll get a big burst of uploads later tonight when I can get home and do it. I don't have access to Wi-Fi here. Why would you have access to Wi-Fi at a cyber security event? Huh. This is B-Sides Adelaide. cyber unconference. They make it fun. There's all sorts of activities such as red team, capture the flag, lock picking. There's a lock picking comp. You can win $1,000. How cool is that? We've got some pickers over there having a go at it already. I brought my gear. I might get in there and have a go myself. But at the moment, we're checking out the spy stuff. Just all the little special baggies they've made for things, and look at these spy cameras. That one went through the keyhole or the door. Long distance ones. Look at all of that. You radio buffs, you techie heads are going to be drooling at this. What a treat I have for you today. And this is just the start of it. What a way to kick it off. That's the ergonomic long lenser.
Legend.
Sorry? Oh yeah, you were in the office. Yeah, sorry, right. Yeah, nice to meet you.
You are? Sorry? No, it's what's your name? Jack. Sorry.
Mate, he doesn't even remember our fucking team.
Yeah. None of the there's no team at the moment, so.
And the very rare night vision.
Yep. Man, we can see that screen, we can't see that screen.
That's fine. One thing at a time. We're getting there.
How are we going, everyone? Who needs a hand other than this little piece over here?
The photocopier.
That one,
So I'm going to pause briefly over the descriptions as I come across them now. You can pause the screen, zoom in, zoom out, fast forward, slow it down, do what you like.
like your,
I'm loving this case. This is what I like. Look at all the kit in that. And it's a compact little thing, like it's only about 100 mil, 150 wide.
bends the fucking seal. If you're
And look,
bending
it's
the seal,
all the bits it's got in it.
fucking up. So, no,
Polygraph machine.
the end bit here.
Pause it, have a read.
Yeah, so just very, very gentle tension, and then up and down, up and down, and
Ultra
down.
scribe.
Wiggle it, wiggle it, wiggle it, and then it'll open itself too much. Yeah, it looks very sus, but it does the job. It's on that clicking up. It's very it's like hearing a cat as close. It's like Snape will be trying to polish. You take the absolute whole day, right there. Fucking you walk in here, it's just a nice girl. It adds the vibe to the whole thing. It's like just walked up, you know. This has got the Russian stuff all over there or whatever that is. Then you've got clouds of smoke. I reckon the shisha would be good. Don't you reckon?
What's that?
You reckon a nice shisha in the middle of here would be good, right? We should probably introduce ourselves. Since we're sharing this room, we should probably introduce ourselves. Right, nice to meet you. Well, what company are you from? Nice. Oh, nice. We're from Stasi, yes. We're all fantastic. We weren't as organised as you guys were. Well, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. You know, we came here. We came to just fucking guys. Real late. We gave them our requirements. Build their own part. But at least we're able to. But feel free to have a crack. Standing around, might as well. But medium, very, very hard, and a lot of things you want to do. You just grab a case, some pics, and have a hit. If anyone needs, ooh, where'd you get this from?
The vendors.
It's mine now.
Just going to get a lot of flare, reflection on these photographs.
I'll give you guys a Lego set if you just walk around.
There's not a lot I can do about it. Well, there's nothing I can do about it.
The red one's over there. So they speak. I didn't know. But they're like this. There you go. You want to? Oh, you want to do that? Fuck yeah. What day?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, just take a picture of it. And then your face, and you say yourself, I want to see that face. And that's fine.
No, Mike, the guy who runs it, it's private collection.
yeah, go for it.
Oh, we've got another one. Yes, yeah, just take a picture of the open ones.
World
You
War
in it.
II and
There's something to identify you in that picture.
German, UK, and
Something, I don't know.
US,
And then
yeah.
we'll enter it in.
direction finding kits, wireless radios.
Yes. We're doing it tomorrow. Nice mission this morning.
This controls the camera, so you can
That's too much.
if somebody in the area
It's orange with it.
needs to hide inside of walls.
Earpieces, but like earpieces, sorry.
Hi, how are you?
They just go back a long way. So I'm always curious, like, whether it's sort of lined up with the, you know, like Walkman stuff came out.
Somewhere.
No one else there.
That's good. Here we are. So we're after 11. Okay, so we are over here at the moment. We are over here. 10 and 11 are there at the big hospital. We're replaced with 10 and 13. So 13 is there. Yeah, because we're over here. What number are we? We're number 2. So this is us now. So where is you are currently here, 13 is there, that would be wrong.
There you have it. Whoa. Okay. We're going to check out some other events during this. Besides Falcon, the Combat Wombat is keeping an eye on everything. Cyber security. That's what today's all about, people. Thanks for watching. Stay legal. Temptation is everywhere.